So now that we've made our unit circles, we have to use our unit circles and use them correctly. So when it says evaluate the trigonometric expression below, try not to use your calculator. Definitely don't use your calculator, but try your best not to use your unit circle or any tables or anything like that either. Tables meaning what you did for homework. Now, if you do have your unit circle out, which I encourage at the beginning, okay, you're thinking, okay, sine of 135 degrees. Well, sine. X value, Y value, or something else? What is it? The Y value, exactly. So you're going and you're looking at your circle, sine of 135 degrees, and the Y value at sine of 135 degrees should be square root 2 over 2. Correct? If you're looking at your circle and you find a value that is not correct, make a note of it so we can change it later. The second one, tangent of 3/2 pi. So that angle on your unit circle is at the very bottom, 3/2. Tangent, Y value, X value, or a combination of the two. Right, it's a combination. So to find tangent, you're doing the Y value over the X value. So what's the Y value at that point? The Y value, not 0, but the Y value is, look at the point, -1. -1 is the Y value. At this angle, at 3/2 pi, you should have a coordinate pair of 0, -1. Okay, 0, -1. What's the X value of that ordered pair? 0. Now, -1 over 0, what does that become? And even if you key it into your calculator, what does it give you? An error message, right, because you can't divide by 0, so this value is what we call undefined. If you want to abbreviate it, you put UND. The next one, cosine of 240 degrees. So where is 240 degrees on your unit circle? In what quadrant does it live? Which one? Quadrant 3. So you find 240 degrees and you look for the cosine value. Is that X, is that Y, or is that some combination of the two? X. So what's the X value at 240 degrees? -1/2. And then the last one, sine of 11/6 pi. So again, just like number 1, sine, you're talking about Y values. 11/6 pi is in the 4th quadrant. It's that last angle before you make your complete rotation around. So what's the Y value here? What is it? -1/2 again. Yes. Okay. So really, instead of now drawing a bunch of triangles, well, some of these triangles you can't even draw. All you're doing is using your unit circle to determine the X value if it's cosine, the Y value if it's sine, or if it's tangent, you're doing Y over X. That's all you got to do. Questions? So the next one, evaluate the trigonometric expressions below. Try not to use your calculator, your unit circle, or any tables. So now let's turn over your unit circle because this is where we're heading. We're heading to the point where you can evaluate these without having to look at your circle. So that's why you have to know where these angles are as you go around. So this is how I would approach it. Tangent of 225 degrees. They're laughing at me because I have a headset on. 225 degrees. In what quadrant is 225 degrees? 1, 2, 3, or 4? 3. All right. Now, if you remember that whole ASTC thing, if you're in the 3rd quadrant, tangent is positive, right? Now, that one is one of those that end in a 5. That's one of those 45s that are a little bit odd as you go around. But the good news is, what do you remember about the x value and the y value for these 45s that are in each quadrant. Flip over right fast. Flip to the front side of your circle, find 225 degrees. What do you notice about the x value and the y value? They're exactly the same, and they're both negative. All right, so the x value is square root 2 over 2. The y value is square root 2 over 2. They're both negative. Anything over itself simplifies to what? 1. And 1 is positive, and tangent values in the third quadrant should be positive. So those aren't so bad. You just have to know kind of where you are. Now, number 2, sine of 3/2 pi. That's one of those big ones. 3/2 pi on your unit circle is there at the very bottom. 3/2, 270 degrees. So to get to that point, that's the coordinate pair of 0, -1. That means you go left or right, none, but you just go straight down, -1. What's the sine value there? What are you looking for? X, Y, or some combination of the two for sine? The Y value. So the Y value is -1, so the sine value for that angle is -1. And y'all do have to get it in your head. Cosine is X, sine is Y, tangent is Y over X. Okay. Cosine, 300 degrees. What quadrant are we in? The fourth quadrant, right. We are right here, okay? ASTC. Cosine is positive in the fourth quadrant, so this will be a positive value. So for this angle, which is right here beside of the 270, for that angle, are we wanting the x value, the y value, or y over x? The x value. So what is the x value at that angle? So cosine of 300 degrees is 1/2. You go over to the right, positive 1/2, and then down to get to that point. But the positive x value is what we're looking for. All right. Sine of 2/3 pi. In what quadrant is 2/3 pi? Second quadrant, right. So we're right here. And again, if you think ASTC, sine is positive in the second quadrant. So this angle, 2/3 pi, is the next angle over from 90 degrees. It's 120 degrees right there. Okay. If you're talking about sine, are you wanting x, y, or y over x? The y value. So what's the y value of that angle right there? Square root 3 over 2. Okay. So now hopefully you see why it is so important to have a good understanding of the unit circle, because you've got to know where those coordinate pairs are so that you can actually use the unit circle for what it's meant to be used for.